Hello everybody, my name is Luke Fisher and I did a research project on gun control and ways we can save lives through meaningful measures. So I first want to start to talk about Newton's favorite, the NRA. So the NRA gets a very negative rap for being this evil organization that supports death and does not really condone safe gun laws. So from doing some initial research, of course, I found very satirical comments and articles about how the NRA does not really care about safety of the Americans and really just wants to support having as many guns as we can in America. But from doing some deeper research, I actually figured out the NRA really cares about safety. They really educate gun owners. They have thousands of classes offered every day, and I'm personally becoming an NRA certified safety instructor. As well, the NRA supports the National Shooting Sports Association. They fund the National Wildlife Services to protect hunters. They have youth sports teams that host thousands of events every single year, and they have a qualification program, which I'm a part of, and up there are my trap badges. I'm hoping to become a distinguished expert in due time, and I'll show you a little bit more of that in the future. So also, they even have a mascot named Eddie the Eagle who supports children, telling children to never touch guns that they see in the household as like the common motto, stop, don't touch, leave the area, tell an adult. So really, everybody kind of thinks the NRA is trying to support guns, not really give everybody safety, but really they truly do care about educating the American populace. Of course, there are some negative sides to them, but the NRA is a very influential group, and yes, they may be seen as this very gun-toting conservative group, but they really do care about your safety. So to learn more about the NRA, I joined the NRA. It was a $25 yearly membership. I joined for 1 year, and with the membership, it came these magazines that I subscribed to called The American Rifleman. So at first, I was reading them, and they were like very entertaining. Like my true American kind of came out. Like I was flipping through the pages. There were some great images, like new beautiful rifles, like great posters and such I could hang on my wall. But at the same time, like it really made me think. Like I remember I was reading articles about like how to properly stand with your double action revolver to like get better aim and everything. Because I was training to become a better marksman. And as well, they have a section called the Armed Citizen that always talks about self-defense cases and how people use their firearms to defend themselves. So really, it's like, of course, there might have been like some ridiculous images and some kind of conservative articles in there, but it was a very, very well put together magazine. As well, I joined plenty of safety organizations such as Everytown, the Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, and Project Child Safe, which are all nonprofit organizations trying to get more safety out to the public. And it was very interesting to see both sides of the argument here. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about my firsthand experience with firearms and what I learned through the process. So first off, I joined a skeet and trap team. And for those who don't know, it's a shotgun clay sport, which essentially means you use a shotgun to shoot clay targets about this big that fly out of these machines right here. So this is in skeet, this is called the high house. We got the low house here. And essentially, these targets about yay big fly out about 40 miles an hour. And you shoot them from one of 8 stations. And sometimes they'll come out 2 at a time, 1 at a time, and so forth. Trap is a game where you stand at one of 5 stations here, and a machine will throw the same clay target out of this machine, which is about 10 yards away at a completely random angle, and the shooter has to hit it. So here's a quick video of myself shooting some skeet for the first time. I missed the first target, but I think I got the second one. You can't really see the target there, but so that's like a little bit of what I've been doing. That's just an example. I shoot skeet almost every Tuesday. I go to trap practice every Thursday. I don't have a video of that, but it's a great time. And on the team, I've met plenty of new kids, all their parents, all very safe gun owners, all of them using gun locks. It was very interesting to be able to talk to actual gun owners because they're very hard to find in Newton. So how did I do all this? So Massachusetts state law requires that everybody who wants to purchase a firearm or even shoot in Massachusetts requires to get something called an FID card. To get an FID card, or firearms identification card, I had to go through a background check. I had to get all my fingerprints done. I filled out an application. I had to get letters of reference for my family. I had to take a 4-hour safety course and everything. And after that, I was able to shoot at ranges. So initially, I did not want to purchase my own firearm. I just wanted to shoot at ranges and be able to become a better marksman. But after joining the trap team and seeing all these kids with their own firearms, I decided to buy my own shotgun. So after a lot of research, I found what I thought would be the best shotgun for me. It's anyone's who's interested in guns. It's a 32-inch Stoeger long Fowler. It's about $420. And also, Massachusetts state law requires that all guns be sold with a trigger lock. Essentially, what trigger lock is this device that you put over the trigger so as no one can just pick up your firearm and use it. So initially, it came with this really dinky, like plastic piece of crap, pretty much. And I did a test with it. I just smashed it with a hammer. One swell who just destroyed it. It's like, okay, I don't want to use that. So I bought this much more sturdy $16 master lock, which is basically impenetrable. As well, in my household, I keep it in a safe. I lock that safe. I also keep no ammunition in the house because I do not want any mishaps to occur. So now, even though I had a lot of firsthand experience with firearms and I really learned a lot, the meat of my project was really figuring out ways to prevent deaths from handguns. So my research question was, how can we prevent handgun deaths, handgun-related suicides and accidents through community education and legislation? So the reason why I did this is because I learned through some research that there are about 20,000 firearm-related suicides every single year, and only about 11,000 homicides. So kind of a misconception I had initially was that there were tons of homicides, and really suicide outnumbers homicide 2 to 1, as well as 16,000 people are hospitalized every single year due to unintentional gunshot wounds. To do some more research according to the ATF, 37% of Americans say that they, or someone they own a firearm. And there are about 300 million plus guns in the United States. And also we have about 89 up there, you can't really see it, but this is a graph of countries with the firearm rates, and this is about 89 guns per 100 residents. So I also looked at the question of why own a gun? Like why in America, of course, since we have the Second Amendment, it's a lot easier to get a gun, but why do most people get them? So it turns out, according to the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, 60% of people get them for protection, 40%, such as myself, get them for sports and hunting. So now that everyone has these firearms, what are they doing with them? Like, how are we having all these suicides and accidents? So what I looked at was something called the Child Access Prevention Laws. And child access prevention laws are basically laws that protect children in the household where there's firearms. So if your father or mother owns a firearm, there's laws in place to protect your child just in case they don't use the firearm. So up here, all the states in this light green color are states that have absolutely zero child access prevention laws. Meaning, let's say I owned a gun and I had my 5-year-old son in the house. I have it unloaded in my nightstand. My 5-year-old son finds the gun and shoots my wife. If that happened, there would be no criminal liability upon myself or anybody. So there are 14 states that have absolutely zero child access prevention laws. The states in dark green are states that have considered strong child access prevention laws, meaning that there's criminal liability put upon the firearm owner if the firearm is easily accessible to the child. And the states you see in the kind of medium green, those are what we call weak child access prevention laws, meaning that they simply limit the transfer, or like transfer just giving a firearm to a minor. So all in all, there's only about 12 states that really have strong laws, 12 states that really protect children, protect accidents from happening. As well, I looked at something called private sales policy. So private selling is basically, a private sale is when a citizen or your friend, your neighbor, your father sells you a firearm without a state license. So federal law dictates that all licensed firearm dealers must perform a background check, meaning if you go to a gun store, a Bass Pro Shop, anything like that, they're gonna have to run a background check on you. But let's say I went to like the parking lot of a Walmart and I bought a gun from some guy that I met on the street, which is in many states is completely legal. They would not have to run a background check on you. So all in all, I made an entire spreadsheet of all 50 states dictating their suicide rate, their non-firearm suicide rate, and a couple other laws. I couldn't fit it all in this presentation, but just the gist of it was saying only 15 states really have, really require background checks for selling a handgun from a private seller. Basically meaning 35 states in America, you can get a handgun with no safety certificate, no background check at all. And only 12 states, again, have this strong child access prevention laws that really protect children, protect accidents from occurring. So why do we have such loose laws in terms of child access prevention laws? Like, wouldn't we want to save the lives and protect our children? And it really comes down to the fact that we have such a huge argument over the Second Amendment. We really cannot find any solution. It's impossible to come to a compromise of interpreting what this means. There's too many protests for both sides, too many ways, and I found it impossible to pass any legislation. Through my research, I figured out that legislation would essentially be a futile measure. So what I did is I went towards the educational side. I thought, okay, so if we have the NRA showing Eddie the Eagle, and we have thousands of safety classes offered every year, what we really need to do is educate firearm owners rather than forcing laws down their throat. So what I did is I went out and I educated people. I took about 12 new shooters to my range and I showed them the safe and proper use of firearms. I started them off with like weaker guns, moving up to rifles and shotguns. And it was really a great experience for me because I really enjoyed showing someone for the first time how to shoot, how to safely shoot. And I feel like everybody I took had a great experience. Everyone gave me positive outlooks. Here's my friend Izzy. He's shooting a Beretta CX-4 Storm. And although he looks a little menacing, he had a really good time. His finger, his finger is off the trigger. The gun is unloaded. And this is my friend Lauren, who's right over here. She went to the range, and I have a quick video of her shooting a shotgun. She let me put this in here. So a 12 gauge shotgun has a lot of kickback. It's kind of an experience to shoot. It's not really too much fun. And you can see for yourself. Is your shoulder okay? Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, just like, if you kind of just like go out to the range and you like have an open mind, you can kind of see like why it's a sport people do. So really my research went into these extremely simple trigger or cable locks as seen above. So a cable lock is essentially it's kind of like a bike lock. And what you do is you put it through the action of a firearm, basically making it unusable unless you have the key. As well as this trigger lock up here to prevent anyone from accessing it. So trigger locks are about like $6. Mine was a little more expensive. And also you can get them for free from programs such as Everytown and Project Child Safe, just by not filling out an application. So then I ran into the problem of self-defense. A lot of firearm owners told me like, okay, like Luke, if you want to have these really strict all firearms must be locked policies, what about people that have them in their household that they want to have quick access to them? What if they want to have a loaded firearm just in case of an emergency? Like, okay, well, I did some more research and there's plenty of really quick access locks. These are biometric safes, which essentially use your fingerprint to unlock them. So these, this one such as here, and this one is called a gun vault. And basically what these do is you can put your loaded firearm in it, lock it up, and you can be the only one accessible to it very quickly. So essentially you're protecting your family from using your firearm, but you're also protecting them from any intruders that may come. So when I bought my shotgun, I was very pleased to notice that there were these signs talking about gun safety and reducing suicide risks and the Youth Handgun Safety Act that were right in my face as I was buying my firearm. So luckily, Massachusetts is a state that really, like they have very strict laws and they really like push the gun on having strict and safe gun laws. So with suicide research, I met with Professor Matthew Miller, and I talked to him a lot. He's a researcher at Harvard and Northeastern, and I talked to him a lot about ways to prevent suicide. And really, it all came down to people just being safe gun owners, locking their firearms, keeping them away from people in the household that may be unstable. So it turns out Massachusetts has the lowest firearm suicide rate in the country because we have such strict laws. We really enforce having safe laws. We put signs, pamphlets. We really get the information out to civilians. And hopefully, through our research and through education, through safety classes, pamphlets, posters, and creating a very safe gun culture, we can create the lowest firearm suicide in the globe. Thank you.